Hi, and thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, brought to you by Celebrity.com. This week we talk about Jennifer Aniston, the Royals, Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello, and Chrissy Teigen. Our user question is about how we record the podcast, and we end with our weekly feature, The Comments of the Week. The stories we talk about can be found at Celebrity.com/podcast under episode 29. Hi, I'm Katie. I founded Celebrity.com from my house in 2006. I still work from home and I still run an independent site. I write a Celebrity.
Hi, and I'm...
Can I do that over? That sucks.
All right, go ahead.
I practice to do it. Sucks. Hi, I'm Katie. I founded Celebrity.com in 2006. I still work from home and I still run an independent gossip site. I write a Celebrity.
And I'm Chandra. I write as Kaiser. I'm the head writer for Celebrity.
All right, so this week was weird for me. My car got hit by somebody. It was a lady crossing 2 lanes of traffic into my lane, and it was in town. I was going like 30, but she still like threw off my whole day, and it damaged my car enough that I'm gonna have to get it repaired and everything.
That's awful. What part of the car was hurt?
The front left area over the tire.
Oh, that sucks.
And it just looks like a superficial thing. I can still drive it. And so we called the cops. The lady admitted guilt right away and said she was sorry, but she was kind of rednecky, and grumpy, which, we got along well enough superficially, but we were kind of like, but we were saying the right things. Like, she's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, thanks. And I was all decked out because I was supposed to go to dinner. I had to cancel that because this threw the whole day out. Yeah, so the cops came and they said it wasn't even reportable, but they took everything down for us. And then I called her insurance, which was nationwide. And I was so surprised how easy they were to deal with and how nice. And they weren't like fake nice. They were genuinely good to deal with. So the commercials are right.
That's really nice.
I didn't realize that.
Like the last time I got into a real genuine accident, it was not my fault. Some kid hit me with his car, and it was like the back driver's side, and it actually totaled the car, and yeah, it was bad. And he just wasn't paying any attention. And I just remember that was in college. And I just remember it was awful because it was like, have to get a rental and you have to do all of this stuff and get estimates and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. I had to get an estimate. It's going to be $1,300. It's going to take over a weekend. Like I'm going to drop it off next Thursday. So like in a week, and it's going to take 5 business days, so I'm gonna have a rental car for like 7 days. But they're covering it all. Yeah. And it's not going on my insurance. I guess it could be worse.
Well, that's good that Nationwide is good.
It's not a commercial. This is legit. And I also want to say, also not a commercial, Discover is like that too. When I got a Discover card, I was like, wow, they're just like the commercials. Because
I have a Discover card and I've never called them. Like, I just use the card. I don't have to, I don't have any problems.
They're super nice, and they're just normal people, and they seem like the commercials. So I had a good experience with them. I had to get a Discover card because I was identity thefted, and I had to rebuild my credit through a secure card. And then after a year, they took it off being secure and gave me an increase, and now my credit's back to normal, blah, blah, blah. So how are your cats? They're just eating and fighting over food?
Yeah, the cats are fine. Like, the big kitty, Dexter, who is my mom's cat, he likes to go outside and he comes back in. But my neighbor told me that he's been coming to visit her.
He's like begging.
No, he's not like begging for food. He's like begging for attention, I think.
Aww.
Like he can smell that she's got a cat. My neighbor has an indoor kitty.
Okay.
She never lets this cat outside. He's real pretty and he's purebred. I don't know what, but he's gorgeous. And and she never lets the cat outside, but so Dexter goes over there and like visits the cat through the window, just like hangs out by the window to get a look at this very pretty cat. So
that's cute.
Yeah, my neighbor was real nice about it. She was like, "Is that your cat? He's real friendly." I was like, "No, he's not. He just likes your cat."
There's a big old orange cat down the street from me that is like that and friendly. But sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just funny. He's in a new neighborhood and already like he's making friends.
Oh, that's cute. So we have a couple little corrections from last week. So we were talking about Prince Harry's vague eco-travel tourism initiative called Travel List with 2 A's and a Y. And travellist.org exists, but it is just a placeholder site with some pretty pictures and vague statements.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is still.
The whole point of our conversation last week was that it needed to be something. It needed to be a site that would actually help people. It really is. It's just a site of nothing. It's just a vague mission statement of we're going to help people and eco-travel, etc.
Yeah. And you can put your email in there, but who knows what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bex One commented that Kate did board at Marlborough, and that was her boarding school, high school.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she is 99% sure she did. She started out not boarding and then asked her parents if she could board. I couldn't verify that either way because I read a few puff pieces and then gave up. So that's probably accurate.
I remember reading something about how Kate went to Marlborough, and it was probably at the point where she was not boarding. Her classmates would make fun of her. I don't know. Maybe it did change at some point. Like maybe there was a year where she was like, just decide to board. But that would be weird because the school is not very far away from her parents' house.
Yeah, you might as well stay at your parents', but I could see kids being cruel about that. I wanted to talk about this story because I thought it was kind of cute and funny. Jennifer Aniston did a profile with the New York Times, which you covered ahead of her Apple Plus series with Reese Witherspoon called The Morning Show. The New York Times described like a goddess circle that she has with her friends.
And okay,
so whenever
like
go ahead.
The backstory is that for years now, for absolute years, decades, truly, we've been hearing that Jennifer Aniston has goddess circles. And she's even mentioned that in interviews. The goddess circle, the group of friends that she has counted on for years and years. And she moved to LA even before that, when she was living in New York.
Mm-hmm.
She had this group of friends and she called them the goddess circle. I always thought it was just a metaphoric goddess circle of a group of friends that she was just really close to. But no, the New York Times describes it as they literally sit around and call themselves a goddess circle and they have a speaking stick. Oh, okay, sorry.
And they pass it around. No, it's interesting. It's very West Coast, you know. It's very New Agey. So they celebrate major events in their lives like deaths, weddings, and divorces by passing the stick around, and whoever has it talks, and it's described as a beechwood talking stick decorated with feathers and charms, and they sit on cushions on the living room floor. So, okay.
And she truly gets together with this group of friends, like, after some big event, and they, like, sit around with the speaking stick. They talk and they pray and they do something with Mother Nature. I don't know, but it...
So Jenna, sorry, go ahead.
I didn't realize that was really what she's been doing this entire time.
It is interesting.
I thought the goddess circle was they went to lunch sometimes.
That's what we do. You hang out, you have a shower for somebody if they're going to get married or have babies. That never happens anymore with my friends, but like, you know, you just hang out and do stuff. And when somebody has something big happen, you talk about it, but you don't have a formal way to do it. So Jenna Dewan does this too. She's had also literal goddess circles. And that is the correct usage of literal. I'm really annoyed with people using literal when they mean figuratively. But she has like crystals and group meditation led by a shaman in her friends group. That's a thing they do. And that's, you know, people are into that. That's their thing and they all want to do it. That's cool. I mean, I meditate. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I understand all that. I think with Jenna, she was very upfront about it from the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
This is, what I'm doing. She's very like hippy dippy kind of.
She's a hippie-ish.
Yeah.
She'll admit that. I think she used the word hippie in regards to herself.
But with Jennifer, I always thought that it was more a metaphoric thing. I really did.
Yeah, I didn't. She's Hallmark card spiritual. When you hear the things she says, sometimes you're like, that is kind of cheesy and trite, but that's...
Yeah, like she talks like someone who's been in therapy all of her adult life.
But that hasn't... I don't want to put her down.
No,
she just has
that wasn't an
ways.
insult. It was just...
You weren't. I was about to say something insulting and I held back. That's why. I didn't think you were.
Yeah, she sounds like someone who's like really been in intensive therapy for a long time. And that's how she talks. She talks about growth, and I don't know how to really describe it. Just read her interviews, and that's how she comes across.
Yeah. I kind of meant a very specific type of therapy that was that way. I don't know how to explain it, but it sounds a little bit simplified to me. But anyway, so we had a lot of Royals news this week. Duchess Meghan launched her collection to benefit SmartWorks. It's called the Smart Set Collection, and you can buy it from the different retailers. It's 5 items: a white shirt, a blazer and trouser set, a shift dress, and a leather bag. And they're a collaboration with Marks & Spencer, Jigsaw, Misha, Nunu, and John Lewis and Partners. Mm-hmm. And the bag is already sold out. And for every item that's bought, one is donated to the SmartWorks organization,
right,
which helps prepare women for professional jobs through training and outfits. And she gave a speech while she was wearing pieces from... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, she gave a speech off the cuff. I mean, I'm sure she had notes somewhere. She didn't look like she had notes. Stood up at the podium and gave this, 5, 6, 7 minute long speech. And it was great. And she talked about just the ideas behind how she came up with the capsule collection and all this great stuff. She's just awesome.
She's been working on it since January. And when she described how she came up with it, it sounded so genuine and very similar to the cookbook. It was a practical solution that she implemented while working with everybody there to make sure that their needs were met.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Yeah, it was really cool. So here's a clip from that where she's talking about the idea of community versus charity and how she came up with this collection.
And I kept thinking about it as I went home, and it didn't track for me. And I said, we have to do something to change this. And a big piece of this is trying to transform the idea of charity to community. And the way that we do that, I think, as people, is when we go into our closet as a woman and you say, I'm going to make a donation. You don't go through your closet and just toss in a box whatever you don't care about anymore. That's charity as we know it today. Community is going through your closet and saying, this is the blazer that I wore when I nailed my first job interview and got my dream job. And I don't need that anymore because I'm where I want to be. But if I'm able to share that blazer and be part of another woman's success story, then that's community. And so when I thought about it in that personal space, I said, on a bigger level, what can we do with brands, and what companies would be able to help us convene and come together to really build a collection for the women of SmartWorks that could be the pieces that they need to feel confident going into those rooms.
Okay, that's really nice, and it's so thoughtful. And I do wonder, because this is so well worded and it's such a clear concept, I'm sure she had some help with the concept of community versus charity, or it's something that she came up with in talks with this group too.
That very well could be. I mean, she obviously crowdsources ideas, and she also is very focused.
Yeah.
And she's put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into all of this. But
yes, I didn't mean to put her down. I just meant, wow, that's a pretty awesome concept. Sorry.
The thing that really strikes me is that for as much as everyone says, oh, Meghan doesn't really care about the criticism, she does care, and she is paying attention to it. And she's also trying to build in an explanation or a half apology into everything that she does. And that upsets me a little bit, that she's already thinking about, what is the criticism to this going to be? And how can I speak to that before critics get a chance to yell at me?
Do you mean by so clearly articulating the thought that went into it and the need it meets?
Yeah.
Okay.
And talking about charity versus community, and that some people might have taken issue of, oh, she's just doing this because she feels bad for these women. She's trying to think about the criticisms that people would have of her. And she did that with the British Vogue thing, too. In her letter to the editor, she like built in kind of an apology that there were advertisements in the magazine. But, you know, we live in the real world. We understand how this works. Yeah. We understand that she has to partner with companies and advertisers, and she has to work with these people to achieve her goals. We understand how this works. Of course, the critics will still scream at her over nothing.
No matter what she does. Yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed that she does that a lot, especially after the cookbook.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is super interesting. And we've talked about this before. I like how practical she is, how collaborative she is with her charities, and very thoughtful.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that she also is trying to address the criticism before. That's actually a really good point.
I think it's the same with the cookbook. She went to SmartWorks. She decided that she wanted to become the patron, and she immediately saw what was missing in the organization. She saw that women weren't getting the basics, the black trousers, the white shirt. She was like, okay, well, I can figure this out, and I can probably figure it out in like a week. And she did.
That was a great way to address that. And she also really relates to them.
Yeah.
And you could tell that in the story she told about, all right, this is my first jacket. I don't need it anymore. It was powerful for me. It got me my job. I want to give it to somebody to help them get a job.
Right.
You can tell that she relates to people on that level. And that's why people really like her and why her charity work resonates with people.
And that's also the same thing that scares the shit out of a lot of the people within the royal family. Yeah.
And the British press too. And it is a very American thing. And we are very like down on the ground relating to people.
Yeah. Someone said that it's like only in America is it a compliment to say someone is down to earth.
That's what I strive to be. I don't know if I achieve that or not, but of course it is. I can see it being any other way.
Yeah.
Like, why would you try to act like you're above anybody?
But I feel like the other royals have to try to achieve this weird balancing act of acting super normal, and we're just, you know, we have these middle class ideals while also having a giant gold piano and a pedophile uncle. And
yeah, they have a lot of skeletons, and they've had a different life. Meghan had a normal upbringing. You know, she had to deal with a narcissist dad, but she had a wonderful mom, and she grew up American, working. Mm-hmm. She knows how to talk to people. Yeah. Anyway, so Duchess Kate is covering People magazine. They photoshopped the hell out of her face. She looks so weird. They made her look super Botoxy and weird. And the title is Princess Kate, the mom who will be queen. That's gonna be a little bit. And it was all about how she's finding her voice, and you know, as she sends her kids to school, blah blah.
The funniest thing was,
go ahead,
was the like testimonial from someone at one of the charities Kate is involved with, and the testimonial was, Kate went to a meeting and she stayed the entire time. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, well, I bet it is pretty good for some of those meetings. Oh my god, I bet they're boring. So she gave a speech at the Royal Horticultural Society's Wisley Garden, because they have a playground garden that's inspired by some of the things she did for the Chelsea Flower Show for her garden. She gave a speech for it, and when I first read the reviews of her speech before I actually heard it, I was like, she couldn't have improved that much, because she was really a terrible public speaker before. Mm-hmm. Like, I think I gave speeches in high school that were better. No offense. Yeah, offense. I don't care. But she really did improve. And you could tell she was talking about something that she cared about and that she had a lot of experience with. And that probably helped quite a bit in making her feel more comfortable. And a lot of people have anxiety over public speaking.
Yeah. And I wrote about how much she's improved. I follow some of the royal reporters, and this one royal reporter named Emily Andrews noted that Kate is obviously doing a lot better with her public speaking lately. Probably over the last year, Kate has made a lot of big improvements. And Emily Andrews said she was such a bad public speaker before because she had elocution lessons and they just made her freeze up.
So they blame the lessons. Yeah, I mean, obviously she wasn't comfortable speaking before for whatever reason. It's not the lessons' fault. But she's getting better at it, and that's good. And here's a little clip from that, and I thought this part was kind of cute.
I'm delighted that many of those features that first appeared in those gardens have found a permanent home here at Wisley in the new children's play garden. I hope it will enable thousands of children to discover and explore the natural world around them. I am not as green-fingered as many of you here, but I was passionate about creating a garden that inspired children and adults alike to get back to nature and reap the positive mental and physical health benefits that it can bring.
I really like that word green-fingered. Like, I've never heard anybody use green finger as a descriptor, like green-fingered.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cute. Yeah, she sounded natural, and it was a lot better. So.
Well, this is like the 4th speech that she's made about the same garden, so she's comfortable with the speech material.
Yeah, and plus she worked on it for a while. I mean, she worked on it for a while, and it's her project, so you can always talk about the things that you do because you're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
There's one story that you covered today that I wanted to talk about that nobody cares about, but I like it better than other trash stories we're covering, is that Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello made out, but in a really gross way on Instagram because what happened? Somebody said they kissed weird or something.
I think it was about the MTV VMAs. They fake kissed for part of their performance. It wasn't as sexy as they seemed to have thought it was. And then, I don't know, maybe there were some paparazzi photos of them kissing, but basically there was this whole vibe around social media that Shawn and Camila aren't good at kissing each other. And so they decided to clap back at the haters, and they posted this video that was supposed to be funny, maybe, of them fake kissing and making fish faces and licking each other's faces.
They were,
and it's so gross.
There were a couple sexy seconds in there, but it was disgusting. And they were licking each other, and they were licking each other's faces, which is it just was gross.
Yeah, it's one of my biggest peeves is people licking each other's faces.
Ugh,
I hate that.
That hasn't even registered on my radar enough to make it a peeve.
Well, people do it for comedy.
Yeah.
Even in TV shows and movies, I'm like, oh God, that's gross.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's licked my face. I don't.
Oh, another one of my peeves is people licking someone else's teeth. Oh.
And
they did that in that video too. I hate that.
I have that condition where I can't stand to hear people chew. It's called misophonia or something like that. And it makes me, sometimes if I can hear it really loud, I get kind of irrationally angry. And I try to keep it down. But I hate hearing people chew. That's one of my things.
What about chew gum? Because I chew gum.
Yeah, that gets on my nerves, but it depends on how loud it is and how close they are. It does. Because you picture their mouth moving, and there's something disgusting about that. I mean, it was really worse towards the end of my marriage, because I... for obvious reasons. But yeah, so here's a clip from them doing that, and yeah, I won't make you listen to too much of the mouth noises.
Saw on Twitter and stuff, you guys saying stuff about the way we're kissing and how it looks weird, we kiss like fish.
Yeah.
And
really hurt our feelings.
We just want to show you how we really kiss.
Yeah.
So you can see that on our site if you want, or I'll just link it because it's gross. I'm not putting it in the phones.
It's completely gross.
So Trump got in a Twitter feud with Chrissy Teigen, and she got pussy ass bitch trending because that's what she called him. The background is that he was complaining that he wasn't getting credit for criminal justice reform because he was watching the MSNBC Justice for All series by Van Jones, and John Legend was on it, but Chrissy Teigen was not in that. So Trump was complaining that he didn't get credit for getting senators to vote for it or something. I don't know. And he tweeted, boring musician at John Legend and his filthy-mouthed wife are talking about how great it is, but I didn't see them around when we needed help getting it passed. And I'm not going to attempt to do a Trump impersonation. So after that, Chrissy tweeted, lol, what a pussy-ass bitch, tagged everyone but me, and honor Mr. President.
Yeah, I just think that I hate every fucking part of this story. I hate it. You know that I'm not a huge Chrissy Teigen fan anyway, but like, she doesn't deserve to be mocked by the president of the fucking United States of America and not even name checked. He just called her the filthy mouthed wife. That's terrible. I mean, it's terrible on so many fucking levels.
If anybody can take it, Chrissy can. I mean, it is terrible and nobody should be subjected to it. But he came for the wrong person.
Yeah.
And then after that, John Legend tweeted, imagine being president of a whole country and spending your Sunday night hate-watching MSNBC hoping somebody will praise you. Melania, please praise this man. He needs you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Chrissy went on Ellen to tell this story, and she said that she had to have other people screenshot the tweets for her because Trump has blocked her, even though Trump is legally not allowed to block people.
Yeah.
She said her heart stopped. You know, she couldn't believe it was happening. Her eyes filled up a little bit, and she knew she was going to get trolls. And she and John were trying to figure out all night how to respond to this, and they were passing the phones back and forth. But she was laughing about it. She dealt with it. She's moving on. It is ridiculous this is happening, and that's what Chrissy and Ellen said.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that this is such a thing. People just have to deal with it. And it's like a story for maybe 10 hours or 12 hours. All of a sudden, the president is going fucking bonkers late at night over this celebrity or that politician or whatever. And he just decides to hate tweet them at like 10 p.m. on a Sunday.
And it makes them targets. And considering what's been happening lately, I mean, some of them might have to hire security. This is not a joke.
Yeah.
We've had journalists murdered after things she said. And yeah, people of color. Anyway, he's a horrible person. But I respect to Chrissy for how she dealt with it and for how she deals with stuff on a regular basis. She lives her life very much in the open. And it's a little much for me to watch all her Instagram stories. But she's an interesting person. Let's move on to the user questions. Denise asked in a comment, I would love you guys to do a post about what podcasting equipment and software you use and how you record. Are you calling in from different places? We do record from different places. We have met in person. We only live like an hour from each other, but it's kind of a difficult drive, so we haven't done it much lately. But we do record from different places, each from home. And we use a program called Reaper, which is a local recording. And then we have a backup online. It's called Zencastr. And we do both at the same time in case one fails. And it has before.
Yeah, it has.
We've had a couple of times where we've failed to record. We call each other on our phones and use headphones so that our individual mics don't pick up the other person. I took a course on how to do this, which I highly recommend. It's on Udemy, which is that online course system. I think it cost me $10. And it's called Podcasting for Anyone by Steve Cherubino. He is so good. He tells everything step by step, how to apply filters, how to edit tracks, how to stitch it together. And that's what I use to edit. And that taught me a lot about audio editing and podcasting. I should probably take more courses on marketing and all that stuff, but I'm too lazy.
Well, all I did was follow your directions. And even then I screw it up like half the time.
Well, I screw it up too. And it's tricky. And sometimes I make weird noises on the mics and have to cut it out. And if I listen to the first couple of weeks, I'm like, oh my gosh, I cut that word too short, or why did I leave that in there? Or the audio sounds terrible. So I hope I've gotten better at it. But yeah, it's just something you learn with time. But I highly recommend that course, and I should probably be taking more courses. Oh, and our equipment is, we have the Samson microphones, which are like $30 microphones. And I have a pop filter. And I'll link these in the post.
All right, well, here are the comments of the week. My comment of the week was from the post that I did about how Todd Palin filed for divorce from Sarah Palin on his birthday. It was like a birthday present to himself. My favorite comment was from Jen's, and she said, I wonder if she'll blame Obama for this, which is very true, because Sarah Palin blames Obama for almost everything.
Remember when her son abused his wife and she blamed Obama?
Uh-huh. Because he was a veteran and she was blaming Obama. I still remember this. She blamed Obama for something veterans, but her son had served one tour of duty when Bush was president.
Oh my gosh. So my comment of the week is also on a political post, the one where Donald Trump, I don't know, he did some stupid press conference and he said, she's got a son about his wife. And it was his son, Barron. And DS9 said, he always sits like a child waiting for snack time, which is true. And Rapunzel says he sits like a toddler learning to go potty.
Exactly. They always say that on Saturday Night Live. They say he's sitting on the toilet. That's exactly what he looks like.
Oh, I can't. He does look like that. His hands were like in his lap and his legs were open. Oh, and he's making that face. He's got that orange face.
Ooh, just stop.
I'm sorry.
That's nasty. Stop talking about it.
You made me think about people getting their teeth licked.
Shawn Mendes literally licked her teeth.
Thanks for listening, bitches.
Thanks, bitches.
Thanks for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. We're now on iHeartRadio. If you like us, tell a friend. And if you subscribe, review, and rate us wherever you listen, it helps us out. We need more voice messages to play on the show, and you can leave us one at 434-218-3219. Our music is from Premium Beat, AA Alto, and Maiden. Thanks again.